My mouth is dry. I can feel the sweat running down the back of my legs. I'm starting to lose focus. And I don't quite understand why the words on the page are blurry. I've rehearsed this time and time again, and all I can hear is my heart in my head. I know I'm crashing. I look at the audience and I can see the whispers, I can see the disengagement, and my heart just gets louder. And I'm thinking, why did I decide to do this? Why did I ever say yes? And it's the longest 2 minutes of my life. As I go back to my seat and I meet eye contact with my boss, she gives me that smile. You know that smile when you know you haven't done well, but no one wants to tell you? You know that smile? And as I sit down, my mind starts to race. And it's racing, and it's racing, and it's racing, and it's racing. And I can't seem to quiet it. But all I can hear is, oh, Suzanne, you're so stupid to do that. What made you risk that? And I keep starting to shrink, and I'm shrinking, and I'm shrinking. And as I sit there trying to hide, as people come up and go, great job, and I'm like, you're real great. And they're like, great job. And I know it's not true. And I want to shrink and hide. And as I sit there, I go back to that moment. And I ask myself, why did you become that little girl on the stage again? Why did you become that little girl? That little girl who once upon a time had all her power taken from her. Has anybody had a moment where you've had all your power taken from you? Oh, just a few of you in the audience. Has anybody had a moment where all your power seemed to be taken from you? Yes. Thank you. Mine was in grade 1. We'd been in Canada for about 1.5 years, and my mother brought us from Trinidad because she thought that this place would give us a better education. I'm not so convinced at 5 years old. All I know is we got off a plane, it was cold, and nobody looked like me. I asked my mom, like, where are we? And she said, we are in Canada, and this is where we're going to have a better life. I don't know what better is, but there was no fish, there was no plantain, there was no dumpling, and there was no grandma. So anyway, I'm here, and it's grade 1. And I want to tell you that I'm a smart little girl because I lived in Trinidad, and in Trinidad you go to school early. I've been in school since I was 3 years old. I'm sharp. Mommy says I'm kind of precocious. I don't know exactly what that means. But I think it's a good thing. So today we're in school, and the teacher says, who wants to read? Wow, I can read. Ever done that? Yeah. Choose me. And Miss will leave her name out of it. She says, Suzanne, come on up. And so I go out to the front of the room, and she gives me my book. And it's that book, you know, Spot, Chase the Ball. So she gives me my book, and I start reading. And I'm very proud, because I know all the words. So I'm reading along, and I'm like, ooh, I know. Today I'd say I'm crushing this. Now I'm confused. You ever have that moment where you're confused because what you know is not what you know, and you don't know why you don't know, but you just don't know? I'm confused. But what's beginning to happen is the students are starting to laugh. And they're starting to snicker. And they're starting to, when they start talking to each other, they're starting to talk. And now, I don't feel like the smart little girl anymore. I'm beginning to shrink. So that day, in front of the room, on the stage, as an adult, when the audience did that thing like they weren't engaged, I somehow became that little girl. And it was the same long moment. It was the same long silence. It was the same, like, I shouldn't be doing this. And I can't understand it, but it's the same thing. You see, back then, in that moment, when I began to shrink because my teacher could not understand my words, I could, but somehow she couldn't. I didn't get it. But in that moment, I knew the words that were coming out of my mouth were somehow wrong. That possibly I was not as smart as I thought. But at that moment, I decided one thing. Never, ever, ever again will I stand in front of a room and risk humiliating myself. So I don't know why I chose to do it today. When my boss said, Suzanne, we're going to have you talk. Somehow I thought I could get over it. Somehow I thought things would be different. But all I can hear is my heart. So the secret is, I'm the girl who from that day decided that it wasn't safe in front of the room. I'm the girl who decided that never again will I ever put up my hand. I don't care what I don't know. I will never ask a question to risk being humiliated. Anybody go through school that way? I'm the little girl who had all the ideas, all the things I wanted to say, but would never risk saying it because I might get embarrassed. Because somebody decided that how I sounded wasn't right. There comes a point in your life where you've got to choose who you're willing to be. So for the longest time, I chose shy. I would tell everybody, oh no, I'm shy. Do I look shy to you? So whenever some people would tell me something that had me risk being uncomfortable, I'd say, oh no, honey, I'm shy. You guys laugh because you see the disconnect. But back then, I actually believed I was shy. How many of you right now have a belief in something that's really just your protection? It's really that thing that you use to hide behind because you don't want to risk being uncomfortable, you don't want to grow, so you'll say, I'm shy, I'm an introvert, I don't go out much, I don't do crowds. Whatever it is, we all have it, that thing that keeps us safe, but stuck. Right? So 16 years ago, I was safe, but I was stuck. I was comfortably uncomfortable doing something I no longer love doing, but too afraid to risk not looking good to get what I wanted. But you ever have that moment when the pain in your life gets so great that it doesn't matter where you are, but you just don't want to be here? Okay, so while I'm talking, we're going to create some rules. Is that okay? So, I'm from the islands in place you didn't know. I'm from Trinidad. Hello. Oh, Trinidad. I'm on an island, yeah. So this is what I want you to know. We talk to the television talks fast. Right? We like to converse. So when I'm up here, we're going to have a conversation because I'm not one of those speakers that talks at you, I talk with you. Is that okay? Yes. So when I ask you a question, please engage and answer. Yes? Yes. Thank you. When I ask for energy, give me energy, please. Energy? and I wanted to be anywhere but there. So that was my journey into network marketing. It's one of the best industries on the planet as far as I'm concerned. And as I went into that journey, one of the things my mentor said to me was, he said, Suzanne, the person who owns the front of the room often owns the city. I was like, oh no, seriously? I wanted to grow, but really that's like growth. You know what I mean, right? That's like me facing everything I want to hide from. That's really getting uncomfortable. But this is the thing. I was hungry. So how many of you in the room right now are hungry? I'm talking Les Brown hungry. So I want you to get out from behind what you've been choosing to hide behind all these years. And in this moment, say no more. Can you hear no more? No more. How many are really like no more? No more. Thank you. So I chose to give up shy. When the moment he said that the person who owns the front of the room owns the city, I said, okay, shy is done. Because I'm done. Right? Because, you see, I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was so sick and tired of being upside down and feeling broken that I was willing to do almost anything. I wanted success like I wanted air. I wanted change like I wanted air. How many of you want change like you want air? Hello. Okay, this group over here wants change like they want air. Yes! I wanted change like I wanted air. And so he said to me, Suzanne, you need to start speaking. And I went, truly I did. And he said small steps. So my first talk was on a conference call. I figured that was safe, no one could see me. But they could hear my voice. Right? And what happened was when I was on the conference call, that same gentleman who didn't actually know who I was said, who's that person on the other end of the line? And someone said, it's Suzan Hart. And he said, she needs to speak. There's that word again, she needs to speak. What is it with these people? And every time I get on the conference call, he can hear my voice. And he says, she's got a beautiful voice, a beautiful command of the language, she needs to speak. And I go, there's that darn word again. Then he came to Toronto, and he was going to do an event. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be so wonderful, my mentor's coming to Toronto, I'm going to get trained by him. And in that moment, as we were getting prepared, I was like, I wonder who's going to open his room. And Laura, Jimmy Smith, looked at me and said, Suzanne, you're going to open my room. So I went home. This was my night. I prepared my small talk. And that morning, I opened his room. Now, literally, I walked to the front. They played music. I didn't hear it. I got behind one of these, with my piece of paper. And all I heard was, and all I kept thinking is, why is my hair out of my head? And I delivered my talk. I don't remember to this day what I said. I know I talked about the owners of the company. I know I introduced Jimmy. And then I walked back. And as I walked back, there was Jimmy at the back of the room, and he said, you were brilliant. And I said, that's wonderful. I have no clue what I said. But then he said, keep talking. You see, what was beautiful about Mr. Jimmy Smith was Mr. Jimmy saw something in me that I didn't know existed. He saw brilliance in me. He heard it when I couldn't hear it. And oftentimes, the area that you are hiding from is the area that you're going to touch the world with. It's the area that you're going to change and cause transformation in others. The place that you are the most uncomfortable, and if you're willing to grow, will be absolutely your gift to the world. So as I began to speak, things began to change. So today I'm going to talk to you about unleashing the power of your story. That be good?
Good.
Yeah. How many of you have a story? Say yes.
Yes.
Do you have a story worth telling?
Yes.
Right? Now I heard you with Randy this morning that I have a story. I'm going to talk to you about 3 strategies that will turn your story into an ATM. This is for you, sweetheart. All right? 3 strategies are going to turn your story into an ATM. Why? Because I believe in you. I see your brilliance. Do you guys get this? So, what happened for me was I began to speak. Right? And I began to speak, and I began to speak, and I began to speak. And somewhere in the middle of taking the stage one day, I figured out this was my brilliance. Imagine if I turned shy all this time. This was my brilliance, and I thank Jimmy every day for pushing me to speak, for encouraging me to see my gift when I couldn't see it, to get me past my fear, to tell me I was brilliant when I truly knew I was not. But what he knew was I had started. He knew I had started. And he knew I would become brilliant. So the question I have for you is, why do you want to speak? Why do people want to speak?
To inspire and empower others.
To inspire and empower others, thank you. Who else? Why would you want to speak?
Because they have something to say.
You have something to say. How many of you have something to say? Everybody has something to say. Why else would you want to speak? Make a difference. Awesome. Anyone else? Back here. Connection. Show people that they're not alone. Big one to speak. Way in the back. Oh, okay. Paul? Deliver a proper message. Absolutely. Okay. So, as I went on my network marketing journey, I found many reasons to speak. The most profound that I found was that my story of being physically exhausted, financially upside down, and hiding behind shy touched lives. That was the reason I began to speak. I began to speak because every time I took the stage, people connected with me because I was willing to tell my truth. It was really that simple. And so as a result, I was able to create a successful career in network marketing. It afforded me travel. It got me from financially upside down to financially right side up to financially free. And it just began to change things. And it allowed me to start not only speaking, but writing. And you heard from Randy what books can do for you. Right? So I'm the author of MLM Woman with Miss Susan Hart. And then I got to be a guest on 7 Habits of Highly Successful Network Marketing Professionals with none other than Mr. Stephen Covey. I know. I know. And then I was able to do my own book, Leading with Character. And it just continues to grow. I've been featured on CDs for the Direct Selling Women's Alliance. And then I got to share the stage with Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen, Mr. Les Brown, Mr. David T. Wood, Robert Allen, the list goes on. And if you think about it, I am the little girl that chose shy. So how many of you are ready to give up what you're hiding behind? How many of you are ready to give up what you're hiding behind? Okay. So this is my first thing I want you to consider. How many of you have been through the fire? Do you know those moments where you feel like you're walking on hot coals? Like when you feel like life has just got so much heat that you're being crushed? I'll remind you that diamonds are created from coal. It is when you are in the heat of the moment, when you are so upside down, so feeling the pressure of life, when it has come down your street, rolled over you, left you laying there, It is when you get back up that stories are made. So today we're going to talk about the power of your story, but not the power of any story, the power of the story that you might be hiding because you don't want to tell it. And I'll say to you, the story that you're hiding that you don't want to tell is probably the story you need to tell. Is this good?
Yeah.
So, I know that anybody can do this because I see and know that you're brilliant. And I know that you're special. Why? Because I'm brilliant and I'm special. Right? And this is the beautiful thing, is the world is waiting for your message. Because to understand, your audience is your audience. My audience is my audience. Whoever you're meant to touch is who you're meant to touch. And the only way you can touch them is when you're willing to risk getting out from behind whatever that is and sharing your story. Right? Because your journey is special and unique. So no matter what you do in life, whether you're a real estate agent, whether you're a banker, whether you're an accountant, there's no other accountant or real estate agent like you. There's no other teacher like you. There's no other network marketer like you. See, what makes you unique is your journey to where you are today. And in that journey lives your money. Bet you didn't know that. Most of us think it's what we do that makes us our money. It's not what we do. It's who we are as we do what we do. Did you guys get that? Yes. It's who you are as you do what you do, because who you are is what distinguishes you from everyone else if you're willing to tell the story. Is this good? Good. All right. So I'm committed to working with hardworking, result-driven men and women. Business professionals and entrepreneurs who are overworked, secretly isolated, and underpaid. Is that anybody in this room? Okay. These are the people that know they're brilliant, they know they're special, and they want to be rewarded for their brilliance and their uniqueness. These are the people that are the first to arrive, last to leave. These are the people you can count on. They are the bottom liners. They are the overproducers. These are the people that often don't sleep. Any of you here, I want to see you. I love you in the front. Right? These are the people who do what you do when you want to be seen, you want to be heard. Right? You want to be recognized. That's who I tend to work with. So we're going to talk about ways to unleash the power of your story. And then at the end of this talk, I'm going to invite you, for those who are seriously ready, to spend 3 days with Sheree and Francis, Ramsey, and myself. And we're going to show you how to monetize your story. And what we mean by monetize your story is turn your message into a money-making machine. Would that be good? Would that be good? Yes. Thank you. So this is for you if you are hiding behind something. Mine was shy. If you're hiding behind, I don't speak in front of the room. If you're hiding behind, I don't communicate well. If you're hiding behind whatever it is, this is for you. This is for you if you have a business and you want to distinguish yourself from everyone else in your field. This talk is for you if you have a message, a story, an experience that you want to share because you want to touch the world. This is for you if you have a vision that is totally worthy of your life and you want to be international. This is for you. So, why do we love movies? Anyone? Why do we love movies?
It's someone else's life.
It's someone else's life. Thank you. Absolutely. Why else? It's a good story, isn't it? It's a popcorn story, right? It's a great story. Why else do we love movies? We take a break from our own reality. Absolutely. It takes us somewhere, doesn't it? Why else? Why do we like movies? Sorry.
It's thought-provoking.
It's thought-provoking. Right. Are they not? They're big, long stories. And this is what's the secret sauce in every movie. There's a message, right? That's often created out of a mess, right? And one of my mentors, she goes, your mess creates your message. And if you get this alone, it will change how you look at things. So what she's saying is that, whatever you're going through in life doesn't define you. It's how you get through it that defines you. It's who you become in the journey of getting through it that defines you. Do you guys get that? Right? So that's what absolutely defines you. So the mess that is in your life is often where your message lives. Now, why do we love movies? Do you ever notice that in the middle of a movie there's always a mess? A big old mess? Right? So it actually kind of goes like this. Well, meet Bob. Bob has the perfect life. Bob is special. Bob has the perfect wife. Bob has the perfect job. Bob drives the perfect car. Bob's just perfect. Are you guys gorgeous? Right? If a movie went like that, what would you do? You'd change the channel. You'd be like, who cares about Bob? Bob's boring. And I don't like Bob because his life is way too perfect. No one's that perfect. I don't like Bob. Change the channel. Isn't that what you do? But movies don't go like that. Movies go like this. Meet Bob. Bob walked into the office the other day to find all his stuff packed up on the desk. Bob has given his life to this company, and somehow they decided that they downsized. Bob was the first to go. Bob is angry. On his way home, Bob gets hit by a car. His life is turned upside down. And Bob is laying in the hospital bed, and they're saying to him, Bob, we're not sure if you're going to walk again. And Bob goes into a deep depression. And he lays in the hospital looking up at the roof, and he's thinking, I can't do this. But then his wife comes in with his 2 kids, and he looks at his daughter, and something within Bob stirs. And Bob says, you know what? They say I am never going to walk again. Watch me. Right? Isn't that how movies go? And then Bob goes into physio, and Bob's the first to arrive, the last to leave. Bob does everything possible. And what happens is we watch Bob, and we're like, go Bob! Take that other step! And we cheer Bob on. Right? Bob can do all sorts of things, and no matter what he's doing, if he's going in the right direction, we will cheer him as he goes through physio. We will cheer him in the pool. Why? Because Bob is overcoming something. And we watch Bob move from the victim in his life to what? Hero. Right? That's what makes movies work. That is why we like it. So strategy number 1 that I'm going to teach you is no matter what story you are going to tell, I'm going to give you a moment to spend some time just thinking through, no matter what story you're going to tell, it's a story that uses your vulnerability, because that is the power in your story. See, most of us, when we take the stage in perfection, right? We take the stage going, my life is perfect, my life is great, my life is this, my life is that, and the audience goes, I can't relate to you, I can't touch you, because you haven't touched me yet. Do you guys get this? The minute you take the stage and you say, this is who I am, and this is where I'm vulnerable, the audience goes, I can feel you suddenly. Do you guys get that? Yeah. Because no one wants to know what you're going to do for them until they know who you are. And can they feel you? Can they touch you? Have you been touched? They want to know, can you identify with the craziness in my world? Do you have any crazy in your world? And the minute you're willing to let the audience into that place, they feel like they know a little bit of you. Right? How many of you related to my story as I was like bumping, the sweat running down the back of my legs? It's a true story. Right? I was like, that is the longest 30 minutes of my life. And I kept thinking, why did I choose to do this? How many of you related when I told you the story of the little girl that was embarrassed in front of the room? Right? Now that little girl got teased, bullied, beat up, all sorts of things I could tell you about. in the moment I give you that story, how many of you feel like you had no part of me? Right? Now, how many of you were rooting for me as someone said you need to speak?
Of course.
Right? Of course. Because you knew the backdrop of what it would take for me to speak. Because you knew this, I had to get past the little girl that was afraid to speak. I had to get past the little girl that wouldn't put her hand up. I had to get past never ever asking a question. Because I let you into my vulnerability. And in that moment you said, oh, I understand what it took for her to take the stage. And really? She spoke with Les Brown? Really? Do you guys get the distance between where I've been and where I am? And you're not letting where I've been define me. You guys are allowing the hero in me to define me. Do you guys get it?
Yeah.
That's how you use your vulnerability. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
You gotta find the hero. So one of the things when anyone works with me, what I do is I help you learn how to structure a story. So that you actually tell the story in such a way that the audience feels your heart. They get your strength. They understand your courage. But there will be people in the audience that will go, she or he gets me. That's my person. Now if you understand this piece, is that you get that someone needs to buy you before they ever buy the product. Do you get it? Most of us are so busy selling our product that we never actually understand that someone needs to buy us. I need to know you, like you, trust you. You need to earn the right to get my business. And the only way you earn the right to get my business is if I get to identify with you. And we identify with each other through stories. Is this making sense?
Yes.
How do you get people to engage in your story? So right now I want you to take a moment. I want you to think through your business. And is there a story in your life that gives your business more credibility? Anybody find a story? Okay? There's always a story. And why I love working with people is because I watch people take the stage and they always tell the wrong story. Right? And it's a great story, but it's not the story that I would choose to actually connect why someone would work with you. Right? What's the story that has people understand the heart, the soul, the desire, the reason you do what you do, and why you would just go over and above for them? There's that story. You just have to be able to find it. So the next question is, how do you get people to engage in your story? Anybody know? And how do you get people to engage in your story? Relate to them. Thank you. Great answer. You're absolutely right. Anything else? It has to be authentic. It has to be real. Anyone else?
Ask questions.
Ask questions. Thank you. Great answer. So, you've got to respect your audience. And respect is a really interesting thing. Because respect is how you create the environment in the room. Does that make sense? So, when I first started speaking, there was this big saying that says, context is more important than content. Can you guys get that? Context is more important than content. And I first was like, what does that mean? But most speakers speak that content is the most important thing. But reality says that context is more important than content. Well, what am I really saying? Right? I'm saying this. One is you need to know who your audience is. And whatever you talk about has to be for them, not for you. Okay? So whatever you talk about has to be for them, not for you. So one of the wonderful people I get to work with is Miss Shireen Francis, and I don't see her in the room at the moment. But Shireen helps us begin to identify our niche market and our brand. And why that's so key when you're speaking, when you're writing, when you're in business, is because you want to talk to your people. Do you notice how I told you exactly who I work with? Hardworking, result-driven men and women. I work with the person that's first to arrive, last to leave. I work with the overproducer. I work with the person who's secretly isolated, very proud, will not give you their goods, but they're suffering in silence. Those are my people. And that's a very distinct person. I work with the entrepreneurs, the overproducers, the execs. Are you guys seeing a person right now? Okay? All my talks are designed for that group of people. I work with people who want out because they have something bigger inside them. How many of you are here because you have something bigger inside you? That's why I'm talking to you. You're my people. Do you guys get that? Yeah. So the first thing is that you don't want to talk everywhere. You want to talk where you can serve. You want to talk, so when you start to talk, when you start to speak, when you start to write, you really need to intimately know who your audience is. So one of the things that Shireen eloquently does and brilliantly does is she helps you know exactly who your audience is. Hey Greg, how are you? Welcome. You want to know exactly who your audience is. Okay? That's the first thing. And this is really, you know, when I talk about context and respect, you want to respect your audience so that your talk is delivered for them. For them. So that you serve them, that you engage them. So that's the first thing. Second thing you want to do is you want to earn the right. When I used to work, my speaking coach was a gentleman by the name of Mr. David Wood. And David would say that your job when you take the stage is to ETR, earn the right. And so part of really what you want to do here is your story gives you you earn the right to speak to your audience. Right? If I'm not willing to be vulnerable with you, why would you be vulnerable with me? Does that make sense? If I'm not willing to be authentic with you, why would you give me something? If I'm not willing to share a part of me with you, why would you share and invest in me? Does that make sense? Yes. So the first thing you're required to do is earn the right. So when I come to the stage and I plant my feet and I scan the room, the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to make connection with the audience. And then I'm going, before I do anything else, I'm going to ETR. I'm going to earn the right to spend 90 minutes with you. Make sense? Yes. So how do you earn the right? You tell your story. The second thing you want to do is you want to go, what's in it for them? Now this is so key. When you take the stage, how do you know what's in it for the audience? How do you decide that? Go ahead.
Read them.
Read them. Okay. It's a good one. Ask them. Very good. Very good. You ask them. Absolutely.
Body language, eye contact.
Body language, eye contact. That's engagement. You guys are doing really good. So you're talking about engagement. But what's in it for them? This is huge. This is where you got, as a speaker, oh, go ahead. I'm in it for them, absolutely. But this is the thing. Go ahead.
Sorry. At the beginning, you said that afterwards we would have to create a seminar. So what's in it for us would be, I'm just here speaking as an example.
Very.
You're telling us what's coming down the road so that we can invest and decide whether or not we want to invest.
Perfect. So, go ahead.
I was going to say also, what you said before is knowing your audience, knowing where you're going to be, making sure that you are the right speaker for that particular event and audience.
Absolutely. Share the value, absolutely. So this is the thing, and you're right on. Do you notice that at the very beginning I said, and at the end of my presentation, this is what I'm going to offer you? That's a what's in it for you, okay? But this is the other thing about the what's in it for you. I have to actually study my audience. And I'm going to build my talk not on what I want to present to you, but based on what's in it for you. What would be valuable to you that would have you spend time with me? That's all that you care about, isn't it? Right? What could be the one thing that would be valuable to you that I can impart with you that will have you feel that you have changed? So for me, when I start building talks, I always start with the end in mind. First of all, I start going, who's my audience? Who's my audience? Who am I speaking with? Okay? And I always go, what are 3 things I could give them that they could implement as a result of spending time with me? 3 things. Right? And then I go to work on weaving that into a talk. But what are 3 things that I can give them that they could implement right away that would have them spend time with me? So the first thing I talked to you was about the power of your story. How many of you actually knew the power of your story, like truly? Did you learn something from the power of your story the way I taught you? Absolutely. Right? So you're like, ooh, I gotta get vulnerable. I don't know if I like that, but I gotta do it. Right? 1. 2 is that content is more important than, the context is more important than content. Right? So now I'm giving you another strategy that you can go, if you're writing a speech tomorrow, you can actually go to work and use that. So what I'm thinking is, what can I give my audience that has them engaged, but also has them have value? Okay? That they can use like this right away. So that's the second thing I'm always going to do. What's in it for them? And how can I structure what's in it for them so that I'm not just talking? One of the things I've learned is that everything I talk about has to have a point. My story has to lead somewhere. My opening has to lead somewhere. If I give you an example, it has to lead somewhere. Everything has to go to the end result. What's in it for them? Is this making sense? Okay? So that's the second thing. The third thing is activities, exercises, and facilitating the process. So I'm going to show you a few things. Did you guys notice? So I'm going to break my talk down. Did you guys notice that when I took the stage, I wasn't way back here? It's a big stage, right? Do you notice I'm always like, I always have to make sure I don't fall off the stage. But when I was taught to speak, I was taught to speak at the edge of the stage. It's almost like I'm about to fall over because I want to stay connected with my audience. Okay? Second thing is, you notice I don't use the podium. Why? It's a barrier between me and you. I want to create engagement. So I don't use a podium. Right? I never use, they can give me a podium, I'll be like, take that out of here. Right? I want nothing between me and you because I want to be as connected to you as possible. Did you notice that when I planted my feet at the very edge of the stage and I stood there, what did I do? And when I first started, did anybody notice what I did? Silence. Right? What was I waiting for?
Silence in the room.
Okay, so I could have went, would you guys stop talking? Right? Or I could have started while people were still talking. If I start while people are still talking, I've just trained the room that you can talk while I'm talking. But I can politely train you. And I saw people go like this. Right? I've now commanded the room. And then I'm going to look to the back of the room and I'm going to scan the whole room because I've just included everybody. Do you guys notice? Okay? This is engagement. Now, did you guys notice that when the song finished, I went like this, and what did you guys do? You all went. I was like, woo! Don't I have that? Right? And if I were to say, young lady, what would you do? You right there, I'll be stubborn. Why would you rise?
Because you've asked me to.
I did not. Did you notice that?
Yes.
So one of the things about engagement is I'm going to use my whole whole body. Do you notice I'm telling stories when I'm a little bigger than life? I don't actually walk around my house talking like that.
Yes, you do.
Right? But because I'm on the stage and it's a big room, I'm going to be a little bit more animated, a little bit bigger than life. Right? Because I'm going to engage you. Do you guys notice that when I ask you a question, what do I say when you respond? Thank you. Wonderful. Right on. Great. Because if I want you to, I asked you to talk to me, did I not? Right? So when I told you I was from Trinidad and we talked to the TV, we actually do. However, what I'm actually doing is I'm now training my room. I'm commanding my room. Right? I am going to set the parameters of how we are going to engage because I don't want a quiet room. I want to have fun up here. So I'm going to create the environment, what? So what is it?
Context.
Context, so that we can actually play. Is that cool?
Yes.
Okay? Do you notice I'm asking you lots of questions? Why? I'm going to engage you, but also, you guys just don't want to hear me talk nonstop. Right? And what's even better, and this is the secret sauce, is when I ask you questions, I don't have to think all that hard. And you guys, it's funny, but it's actually really cool. Right? If I'm here and I have 3 hours, if I ask you questions, you will give me beautiful content that I can expand on. Is that cool? So when I ask you stuff, so you guys have had answers that I didn't even think about. Yeah. Thank you. Right? So the more engaging I am, the more the more influence I have. So let's do this. I want you now to turn to the person beside you, and if you're sitting in groups of threes, you can talk in groups of threes. And I want you to tell the person one thing that you're taking away in this moment so far. So just turn to the person beside you, and if you're in groups, work with threes. Thank you. Isn't that cool? Now, how many of you met someone you didn't know? Wow. How many of you heard something you didn't think of? How many of you shared something that you may not have shared before? Wow. That is cool. Now, you guys just trained. Do you guys realize that? I bet you people were talking and giving each other valuable content, valuable information. Somebody probably learned something from their partner. I had nothing to do with it. I got off the stage, I got some water, I had a drink, while you guys trained. Okay? But you also had a state change. And what a state change is, you stopped listening to me, and you started listening to each other. You guys got more engaged. Some of you guys were able to contribute to each other, right? And if I had a date with you, we would do many of those, and you guys would actually teach each other as I facilitated the process, and you guys would have thought, wow, she was great. You guys were great. Isn't that cool? Thank you. So, what I really want to share with you is the context to which you create will make the content richer. The context which you create in the room will create the experience. The context that you create in the room will bring the audience together. You will have, if you do this, if you watch tonight as we create the context for the mastermind, people will begin to share, people will have experiences, and a lot of it won't have to do with us, it will have to do with the room. Is this not powerful? Okay? So how you create your context is you manage your energy in the room. So one of the things that I teach you is all some of the things that we've just done, plus many, many more. I'll teach you how to make sure someone answers a question and asks you a question, right? So, and how to not have to memorize and know all this information, but to actually have your room be the teachers. Would that not be cool? Yeah. Okay? So this is context. And do you notice if I ask you a question and you guys don't answer, what do? I ask it again. And then I ask it again. And what am I looking for? I'm not only looking for an answer, I'm looking for how you answer. So if you guys say, I'll be like, I'll ask you the question again. And what I want to hear is what?
Energy.
What I want to hear?
Energy.
What would I like to hear?
Energy.
See? So what I'm doing right now is I am managing the energy in the room because now I'm managing the context and I'm making sure the state of my room stays like this. Right? Because if I'm with you for an extended period of time, I want this in the room. I don't want this in the room. So I'm always looking to see how's the room doing. Do we need a state change? And I'm like the conductor up here, working with you guys and keeping you engaged. Is this cool?
Yes.
All right. So, how do you fit it all in? Right? I mean, there's a lot of pieces, isn't there? There's a lot of pieces, but when you get to understand it, it is actually the most freeing way to speak. So how do you fit it all in? It's all working parts, but I believe in something called freestyle. And I'll let you in on some secrets about freestyle. Freestyle is based on 3, 5, or 7 talk points. And freestyle came out of some really key things for Suzanne. So that day, when I was in grade 1, and my teacher embarrassed me in front of the room. And she embarrassed me because I still had my very Trini accent. So when I taught to sing, right, sing, and she just didn't like it. So she was trying to get me to speak proper English. Now try and make that happen in 5 minutes in front of the classroom. Right? So as I shrunk and was embarrassed, what ensued for another year was a little girl getting beat up, bullied, everything thrown at her, until one day I had enough and I beat the crap out of the biggest bully on the And I swear to God, it was just pure frustration and fear.
Yep.
Right? But out of that, I still don't beat in front of a room. So when I tell you, I lose my spot, I still have that anxiety. I still don't write in front of a room. So if you see Suzanne takes the stage, everything's already flip charted, or I'll have someone do it for me. Now, the reason I'm sharing that is because it hasn't stopped me. Right? It has not stopped me. I have just worked it into my style of speaking. Because there's an answer to everything. Right? Because, you know, your greatness comes in your solutions and your rise out of things. So I use freestyle so I don't ever, do you notice I have no right there. Now you notice I'm not reading them, but they're like cue cards. I got my cue card, I know exactly what's up. Right? I have developed a strategy and a style of speaking that allows you to be free on stage. And it allows you to be yourself. And it allows you to talk from your heart. But it allows for great connection. Aren't you guys feeling connected right now?
Yes.
Are you guys feeling engagement?
Yes.
Because I'm not looking at notes, I'm looking at you. I'm talking to you. I'm feeding off you.
Yes.
You're as much my presentation as I am yours. Your presenter. Do you guys get that?
Yes.
Right? This is the connection. This is the only connection I need. Right? So freestyle. So for freestyle to work is you've got to do one thing. You've got to give up your need to be perfect. Now, a recovering perfectionist, because when you have been humiliated once or twice in your life, what you do to cope is you make sure you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? I can see it. Absolutely. You make sure that when you put yourself out there, you have everything right. Every T crossed, every I dotted. You're perfect. Right? But what that creates is distance. Because people look at you and they go, I can't be like that. I can't be that perfect. And it's your coping mechanism, but the world looks at you and says, wow, I wonder what that person's really like when they're not perfect. So what happens is if you're willing to give up perfection, you'll find greatness. And there's a difference between perfection and greatness. Do you guys get that? So I'll tell you how it worked for me. When I was training and speaking with Mr. David Wood, I love this man. Because he got my voice back. And I would arrive at events, and I remember the first time David did it to me. I arrived, it was an event just like this, and I'm sitting in the audience. And I'm excited, he's my coach. I'm excited to see him train. He's brilliant. I think he's the best of the best in the world. I think that's him. Right? And so I'm sitting in the audience, and David goes like this. He puts his stuff down, and he goes, I think I'm bored. I'm tired. And I'm looking at him going, he's tired. And he goes, I don't think I want to train anymore. And he looks at me and he goes, Suzanne, the floor is yours. And I went, no, I'm the student today. And he said, no, come on up here. The floor is yours. And I was like, don't take that look right there. Right? So what happens is, I get up there and he goes, you have an hour, and this is and he goes, choose a topic. And I was like, okay. But this was the gift. So I decided I'm going to train on how to do a call, a certain call. And I'm warming up, I'm doing my training, and Perfect Suzanne's on stage. Perfect. Right? So there's a point he wants to make in this lesson. So in the middle of it, I lose my train of thought. I'm totally lost. And I look at the audience and I go, now I'm thinking I could totally try to be perfect and pretend I know what I'm doing. They will know. So I looked at the audience and I said, I'm lost. And the audience went, oh. And I said, I'm going to start again. And I went, okay. We're going to start again. And the audience applauded and I continued on. In that moment, I realized they didn't need me to be perfect. They needed me to be engaging. They needed me to be myself. They needed me to be authentic. And the reason he put me up on the stage was he'd always tell me when perfect Suzanne stops taking the stage and authentic Suzanne takes the stage, it's all over. Do you guys get this? And then from there on, I would walk in and he'd say, you're going to do your talk, then you're going to do this piece. I'm going to tell you what you're going to do a few minutes before you take the stage, and this is the piece that you're going to do. And he would just put me on stage. And what he did was he created opportunities for authentic Suzanne to show up. But this was the other thing. He created opportunities for me to begin to trust me. Do you guys get this? My style of talking is called freestyle because it is really about you trusting yourself. Before I take the stage, I say two things. I'm blessed, I anchor myself, I'm blessed, and I surrender. And I surrender to two things. I know my stuff. So I know what I'm going to say, I just don't know how I'm going to say it. How I'm going to say it is between him and me, and it just, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I truly believe that you guys gave me my content. Because if I'm in touch with the room, I will know the content. So even I was talking to this gentleman here, I knew when something landed for him. Right? I'm feeding off you because you're just a happy audience member. Right? But you guys gave me my content. And so because I'm not disconnected from my audience trying to be perfect, I am engaged with you, so my content is like this. Do you guys get it? But that's a trust, and we all have it. But are you willing to live there? I'm telling you, if you're willing to live there, this platform becomes fun. Because your audience is your room. Your audience will begin to hold a space for you that is precious. So, how I teach, when you work with our group, Shireen, Randy, and myself, what I do is I give you a structure. And I show you how to open your talks. I show you how to manage the audience. I show you how to build a talk structure so that the talk structure pulls you and you can freestyle inside of it. So I could actually walk out, you could give me a topic, I could come back in and I could build a talk like this. Because I have a structure that contains my talk. So all I have to do when I was out there in a few minutes, I go, okay, what are the 3 points that would bring this talk to life? As long as I know my 3 points, what's the story that would earn the right for me to talk about these 3 points, I will be set to go. Isn't that not cool?
Very cool.
Right? So that's what we teach. But this is the secret sauce. You gotta know your stuff. You gotta know your shit, really. You really do. You like that, huh? So this is the stuff right here. Why this works is because you're telling your stuff. Now, one of the questions in the VIP room today was, I have an experience, and can I make a business out of this? Can I build a business out of this? The beauty in this is that when you tell your story of overcoming something, no one's overcoming it but you. So you know your stuff because you've lived it, right? All I help you do is to pull the steps out of the experience. And what most people realize is what we take for granted as easy, there's someone out there that's going through the same thing that would be going, I wish there was 7 steps to this. I wish there was 3 steps to this. I wish there was 5 steps to this, right? And you're sitting there going, I have the 5 steps. I learned it hard knocks way, but I can save you the pain. I have the 5 steps, right? And because you've lived it, you know it intimately. So the reason you can be an expert and know your shit is because you've lived it. All we have to do is structure it. Right? Now this is the beautiful thing for all the professionals in the room. This is where the audience gets to know your heart. Once they get to know your heart, they will trust your service. Right? And if they know that you know your stuff, they will trust it. And so the more you give up the notes, the more they'll say, they know she knows her stuff. Look at her, she's not up there with any notes. You know your stuff. Are you willing to be vulnerable? Are you willing to trust you? And then it takes all the pressure off. All the pressure. I don't worry about memorizing. I don't worry about anything. I will deliver what I meant to deliver to you today. So, to recap, your mess creates your message. Use your vulnerability to power your story. Is that good? Is that good?
Yes.
Is that good?
Yes.
Thank you. The environment you create affects your impact. Your context is way more important than your content. Is that good?
Yes.
Thank you. Pull it all together with freestyle. And freestyle is just trusting you. So, for those of you that, how many of you saw value in what I shared? How many of you got value? Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite some of you who are really ready to work on your story, share your story, and we call it become an author speaker, right? An author speaker authority, right? And we would love to spend some time with you and really help you master that story so you can begin to monetize it. Now, there are you that are sitting here going, I got value today and I can do this, and possibly you can. What you'll get working with Randy, Shmarine, and myself is a system that's turnkey, that's built for you so you can win. So that you can actually take that story, put it into a structure, and get through the finish line. I do this because I know when I was sitting in the back of the room, and I remember I used to go to events before I gave up shy, I would sit in the back and I'd position myself behind somebody. And if the speaker went this way, I'd go this way. And I'd be like, oh, please don't notice me. And my biggest fear was that the speaker would ask me a question. I was so disengaged. But what would be the most interesting thing was I would sit there, and whenever he'd ask a question, I'd answer it in my head. And then I'd go, oh, I had a good answer. My answer was better. Right? In my head. I was so missing out on life. And then when I got a little better, what I would do is I would spend time rehearsing my answer, so I'd have the perfect answer when I put my hand up, and by the time I had the perfect answer, he was on. He was gone. Like, okay, we're on to the next thing. Right? This is about you giving up all of that and getting through the finish line so that someone who needs you can hear what you have to say. So this is for you if you're ready to give it up. Give up shy, give up I don't talk, I don't know what to say, give it all up. This is for you if you have a product or service that you know needs to get to the marketplace and you need to activate a story that tells the world how brilliant you are and how much you're willing to serve. This is for you if you really just want to touch and inspire people. That's for you, honey. This is for you if you actually just have a vision that's so big and you want to move people. It's for you. So Monetize Me action plan is learning to write, speak, and market your story. Okay? So the first thing you get is you get to work with none other than best-selling author, multiple-time best-selling author, Ms. Randy Goodman. And what Randy does in her own very brilliant way is she gives you the goods that helped her become a best-selling author. So she's actually going to walk you through how to structure a story. How to structure a book and how to structure a story. And I love watching Randy work because we actually give you a workbook and she walks you through a template. She helps you choose a great title. She helps you develop each chapter. She helps you now build out what should be in a chapter. What are the talking points? She will help you do, what needs to be in a foreword. She helps you actually structure a whole book so that when you go home, you actually just need to actually begin to write. Is that cool? Do you have your full structure? She'll give you all the components of the book, and then she'll give you some of the tips that she has used to actually become a best-selling author, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but more. And on her way to have another bestseller. Would that be good? So you're gonna work with Randy, and she's gonna give you the goods. She's gonna talk to you about how do you start branding before you actually start writing your book. Now most people say, I don't know what my book's about. She'll tell you it doesn't matter. Just tell them a book is coming. Do you know the title? Right? So she'll walk you through that process, won't you, Randy? Absolutely. And then I will then also take the story that you're going to write and we're going to structure it into a talk. Would that be good? Okay? So one is we're going to help you find your story. And Kathy, did you find the story?
Yes, I did.
Was it the story you thought it was?
No. It's developing still.
It's still developing. So what we're going to do is we're going to help you find a story. Who else is it? Is Nicole in here? I saw she walked in. Okay. So we're going to help you find that story. We're going to teach you how to learn to touch, move, and inspire your audience. Would that be good? Through your story. We're going to have you build a talk that's 3 minutes and a talk that's 2 hours. Because the structure is the same. It's just like how much content you put inside. Okay? We're going to give you the secret to how to tell a story. We're going to give you a storytelling structure. Okay? And there's a number of structures that I layer on top of each other that allows you to tell a powerful, moving story that engages the audience in such a way that they want to step into it. Okay? We're going to walk you through all the pieces of having a great talk. Right from the beginning, as I told you, right through the how to tell a story, how to choose your talking points, how to put your content in there, and then and how to make an offer, but not a salesy offer. I'm not going to say I'm going to teach you how to sell from the stage. I'm going to teach you how to create an offer. Cool? And then we have Ms. Shireen Francis, and Shireen Francis will help you do branding. Now, when we work, I will help you to talk about how you do an emotional branding. Because in your emotion of your story, there will be things that come out of your story that are your brand, and they touch hearts. Is that cool? Then Shireen's going to take that, and she's going to teach you how to develop your archetype for your client, and what's your niche market. And then we're going to talk about, actually digital marketing, how to, landing pages, all those different things. So you're going to work with Shireen, and she's going to give you some great tools. Shireen's tools, I use them myself. Okay? So when I thought I had my niche client identified, but when I went through her tools, it even became more fine-tuned. And so she's going to give you all those pieces so that you're very clear. And our goal is to help you pull all this together so you can showcase your brilliance. How many of you are already authors? Awesome. How many authors in the room know that your book is not as out there as much as you want it to be? Right? So part of what we want to do is we want to take the stories in that book, choose a story, activate it, and have you be able to speak so you can actually expose your book to more people. The other thing is inside your book is probably a program that you're not monetizing out of all the lessons you have learned in order to write that book. Right? So we are going to help you do that. We're going to help you take that platform. Because the reality is you wrote your book because you have something to say, you have something to share. How many of you have a book or a talk inside you that you're not sharing? Right? Now most people have a talk inside them, but like me, they're afraid of this front of the room. Or they actually just don't know how to structure it. Right? Our goal is to have you leave with a talk structure that you can actually use, I'm telling you, right after. So you heard about Gabby, right? Gabby's a best-selling author. So Gabby, stand up, hon. Is it possible to get a mic to Gabby? Is that possible? So what I love about Gabby was Gabby went through our Monetize Me program. Gabby went through our Monetize Me program, and part of it is you get some time with us. And Gabby was like, Suzanne, I have a talk, right? And it was just after her program. And Gabby, share with the audience what happened for you after you graduated from Monetize Me, you already had your book. What happened when you used your talk and you used the talk structure?
I killed it.
Toastmasters and I had a story to tell. 2 years of Toastmasters, competent communicator, advanced leader, and everything. Still, nothing would have helped me except with Suzan, 2 days with Suzan. And I went in, when I was doing my first paid engagement, all I did is I took 3 deep breaths and I said, Suzan Hart, I'm listening to you right now, I'm going to follow you. I went in, killed it, I'm hired for every conference right now.
Thank you. And I think the piece was that when Gabby and I got on the phone and we worked together, I said, she knows her stuff. She wrote the book, right? She used her PowerPoint as a talk structure and she just freestyled. And she killed it, right? That's what we want for you. So monetize me, learn to write, learn to speak, and market your story. What Lorraine's going to do is a bonus, and this is your when you invest today bonus. She is going to introduce you to her community, her database. Would that be good? OMG. That is one. Is that good? Yeah. Okay. So what Randy's going to do is she's going to introduce you to her database, and imagine having places, connections that you can go and actually engage in so that you can start speaking. And then with Randy, you have Gordon, and if you know Gordon, I don't know if Gordon sleeps. But Gordon is the master connector. Gordon will be telling you where to connect, where to go. They will introduce you to their database. They will help you tap into their experts. They will give you people to interview. They will support you in getting out there. It's priceless. For me, my bonus today is that you will get my book, Leading with Character. But you'll also get my talk template. Now let me tell you about my talk template. It took me talking probably about 6 years before I actually got a template that worked. That worked for me, that worked for freestyle. When you do monetize me, you actually get my template. And then you just actually stick in your slides. And it actually tells you, do this here, do this there, do this here, do this there. You get my actual template. And it makes life easy. And then from Shireen, she helps you begin to brand yourself, but she gives you your Brand My Being workbook to help you start getting clear on your branding message. I've used this, it is beautiful, it is priceless. She starts pulling things out and asking you questions. So by the time you are done, you are crystal clear on who your target market is, who your niche market is. Another priceless offer. For those of you who pay in full today, what is going to happen is you are going to get 30 minutes of laser coaching with each of us. So this is our whole package. So Monetize Me. Monetize Me, it is happening June 20th and 21st. It is a 2-day workshop. You get all 3 of us. We give you presentation time. We work with you to create your talk, create the outline for your book, create your niche market. You're going to walk out of there ready to take on the world and do what Gabby did, kill it. And we are offering that to you today for $19.97 or a 2-pay of $1,100. Okay? And what we do is we promise a guarantee, and this is really important to me, because one of the things when I started speaking, and Gordon has spoke about this before, I would go and I would work with people who gave me part of the package, right? I would work with people who would tell people how to sell, but they would not teach people how to speak. They would teach people how to brand, but they wouldn't teach them to make sure they had a product. And when I spoke to Gordon, I said, you know what, I want to do a collaboration where all the parts are there, and we can actually give people all the parts. So that the only thing left is to do the work, right? And that we would be willing to support them as they do the work. And there's a community that they can go back to and practice their work and be engaged in their work. And so for us, the 100% guarantee is that if you do the work, we'll do the work. We will meet you. We will match you. Because one of the commitments that Randy and Gordon has is a group of entrepreneurial entrepreneurial community that's winning, an entrepreneurial community that's spreading the word, that's out there speaking, growing. We want to create a network of entrepreneurs that are rocking it throughout Toronto and all over. And in order for that to happen, there needs to be a space where you can come, learn, grow, and win. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So our guarantee is that we will serve you. We will make sure that you have. And one of the things with all of us, Randy talked about outcome-based, right? We are results-based. We want to make sure that when you leave, you have an outcome, you have results. And the final bonus is I have a course called Expanding Your Comfort Zone. We're going to offer that to you because when you speak, when you start doing it, you're stepping way outside your comfort zone. And this course is designed to give you some tips and tools as to how to get outside your comfort zone and actually stay there and live there and actually have it be fun and play. So, how many of you see value for yourself? Okay, so I'm going to invite you to meet me at the back, and I will be here to answer any questions. And also, one of the things is, one of the bonuses that we're giving everyone today, how many of you were interested in 365, one of the books, to be in one of the books? So what Randy and Gordon are generously doing is anybody who enrolls today, you will automatically get a chapter in that book. So what will actually happen is, as we're building your story out, we'll actually be building out the story for that book. And then we're going to turn that into a talk. And you'll have your book, you'll have your talk, you'll have your branding, and you'll be ready to go. I know! All right, so I will meet you at the back. I'll be here to answer questions. Thank you so